Hello, welcome again, everybody. Second live stream of the day, and my phone's already beeping. Again for that. We spoke to Councillor Rees-Good earlier, Cabinet Member for Housing and Wellbeing, about the issues that happened at the Atlantic Hotel Fairways this week. I will be joined soon by Amanda Williams, Leader of the Opposition in the Council, to talk a little bit about what happened earlier, but other things that are happening in Coity Ward with Coity Primary and her, what's it like, duties of the opposition leader in the council. She's just popped into my screen now, and I will add Councillor Amanda Williams to the stream. Hello, Amanda.
Hello. Apologies, I'm not feeling very well today. So
you're not the only one. You're not the only one.
I'll go through as long as I can.
It's been one of those weeks. I think everybody's put a massive effort in, and it's just all catching up with us all now. Anyway, welcome. I've just said we'll have a quick chat about what happened this week, because you were heavily involved from Monday when I contacted you about what was happening. So it'd be fair to get from your point of view as well, because we spoke to Reese earlier from that side, and it was, first of all, a massive effort by the council as a whole to get what was done in the end, wasn't it? It was fantastic to see. We didn't want to see that effort being put in because we didn't want this to happen, but they stepped up when needed. It was brilliant.
Yeah, I think you have to pay credit to all those officers who would have been tirelessly making phone calls to different hotels, different providers, third party and landlords, everyone, to try and find housing for all of the residents in the two hotels in Porthcawl. And I think, they must have been working tirelessly behind the scenes to get those placements secured. So it's a big well done to all those officers.
Yeah, it wasn't just the officers. We had the third party providers as well, and people, Pobble and the Woolwich, who put in a massive effort as well. It was nice to see it all come together.
Yeah, Shelter Cymru as well. They were looking at legal advice to support you residents, to make sure that everything was being done that was required to be done under BCBC's obligations to you all. So yes, there were many agencies in the background as well working.
Yes, from my point of view and the residents of the Atlantic Hotel, we are very grateful to yourself, because you were the first person to start fighting our corner and come down to the Atlantic to actually speak to us. And from what you can see, you're the one who got the ball rolling for us and really took on our side of this argument and our side of this cause, really.
Well, obviously you'd sent me some messages, distraught, that I think it started off, wasn't it, that there were rumours that you were leaving, and then you'd had nothing to confirm that, and then I think, wasn't it Tuesday, some of the letters started coming through to say that
we definitely were leaving.
Yeah, you would be leaving. Some of you might have accommodation. Some of you might have what's known as floor space, where you need to find your own place for the daytime. You'd have somewhere to sleep on a floor from 8 p.m. So obviously, I could. You were messaging me, and I could tell how upset you were. That's why I said, shall I come straight down there now to the hotel, because the distress I could tell from the messages. And I have to say, when I got down there, I left in tears, because the emotion of it all. I've got to make sure I don't get into tears now.
Don't worry, I do it all the time.
Yeah, because the people I met were the nicest people I've ever, and the stories they were telling me about how they became homeless, it was heartbreaking to hear. And it made me realise it could be any one of us tomorrow.
Well,
it's people who have had a real tough time, and the odds were against them. There's nothing they've done wrong. It's just circumstance. And I think what hit me the most was one couple saying that they felt like scum because that's how people
Yeah.
had treated them, and said that's what they were because they were homeless in a hotel, and that was the public perception. And I thought that was outrageous
It is.
because that statement couldn't be further from the truth. They were the loveliest people who were absolutely desperate for support and for help. They were, and even though they were upset, they were so gracious, they were so kind, they weren't blaming anyone, they just needed help and support. So when I went home, I needed 10 minutes sat in the car just to compose myself because I was just so upset by it all. So then I had a meeting, the group leader, we had a group leaders meeting that Tuesday, 4 o'clock. And I said to the cabinet members present and the senior officers that somebody needs to go down to see you all, because there were so many mixed messages. Some people had had emails and letters, some people had had phone calls, some people hadn't heard yet. So through everything, I said, the only way to stop the confusion is to go down and see you all and to speak to you all, because I think that was one of the things that I picked up when I came down, is that everyone felt alone. They didn't feel supported because nobody ever came. I think they're supposed to have people come to see them regularly to check on them, but nobody had. It's as if you'd all been put there and forgotten until you were told you had to leave. So we had a discussion then, and I know at that stage one of the residents had said that they'd gone to the press because they just didn't know what else to do, because you know they were terrified they were going to be sleeping on the beach.
That was quite a funny one because, as you know, I went to Owen Donovan about Oggy Bloggy, and the article's supposed to come out, and he held it. Held it, and he said he's holding it for good reason. BBC were apparently on their way to see us and got a phone call and turned back. And Wales Online was supposed to interview a few of the residents and never called back.
Yeah.
So we don't know what actually went on behind the scenes.
I don't know either. I couldn't tell you. I
to
didn't
stop
speak
that.
to any of them, so I had no contact with them. So I don't know.
But as you said, anybody can be in this situation.
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty.
Living crisis now. It could be anyone.
Yeah, I think I'm probably an example of that, because people say, "Oh, you're councillors, community councillors, county councillors, you're immune to these sort of things." I'm a community councillor. I'm not immune from it. I was in that situation. I went through all this week with the residents, so anybody can be in that situation. And then normal people, it's the majority of the time. I won't say that everybody in that hotel is completely blameless of why they were in that situation, but there were many people there, the majority of them, are there by no fault of their own, through circumstances that have gone on through their lives to culminate there. It has
heartbreaking stories of illness.
Yeah.
And you know, cancer and COVID and all sorts, and it was just absolutely heartbreaking. And I think people need to realise that homeless people aren't what they perceive to be troublemakers who were on drugs and drinking, or you know, their families. There were families there. There are families. They might be the individuals. They are people like us who were working with a nice house one day, and then everything just goes wrong.
Yeah,
and it could be any of us tomorrow. We don't know what's around the corner. And I think it's about time we all started treating each other with respect and not judging, because I think there's a stigma on the term homelessness, and I think that needs to change.
Yeah, it's been crazy. Majority of people have been placed somewhere and gone to that place. I know there's several people who, when they were told where they were going, said they won't go. I was one of them because of the place I was going to be placed. That's changed for me. That couple you were on about left the hotel Thursday evening and found there's 3 doors wherever, whoever they can get to, because it wasn't safe for them. It wasn't safe for male partner to go where they were going. He'd had a text update. Oh, we're looking forward to seeing you down here because we're going to give you the kicking you deserve. And so obviously he didn't want to. It was not safe for him. But everybody seems to be okay. As I said earlier, I've been to visit a few people. I've spoken on the phone to some of them to see how they are, how they're settling in. I've had a message from one person I thought got somewhere else safe because of she's an elderly lady with health issues and she's been playing Tiago, and I've had a message from one of the other residents who's been speaking to her. She's not happy, she doesn't feel safe at the moment, so I'll take that up on Monday if I can.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to take it up. The people I met, I gave my phone number and said I'm here for any of them. And more than willing to. I wish I could have just put everyone in my car and brought everyone back to the house.
Yeah, but as I say, it's been a massive effort by the council staff this week, and deserve to audits. And it's been, I've got, as we said, the dignity that the residents have held. They could have quite easily kicked off at any point, but most people would have expected screaming, shouting, swearing, and possibly violence when the council staff came. Not one person. There were raised voices. It wasn't out shouting, but people were frustrated. But everybody held calm, and that was a good thing to see. And
am I breaking up as well, or
you are slightly, but it could be my internet. Sorry,
I'm on 4G. Yeah, I'm on 4G. So
yeah, you're breaking slightly for me. Muddle through. Anyway, let's get off that now. And since we last spoke on here, we've had an election, and the deputy.
Sorry, I'm getting every other
you're
word.
The leader
Luke,
of.
I'm getting every other word. Sorry.
My internet seems to be stable. I think it might be yours.
I'm on 4G.
Right.
So that I've got 4 bars of 4G to make sure I've got better connection. I can go on to, just bear with me. I can try internet, but because I've got an old house, my Wi-Fi connects to the Wi-Fi. Let's see that and see if that helps. Let's see if it. Right. Is that any better? Let's see.
You better. You're not breaking up. I can't actually see you at this.
Oh, you're breaking up still for me.
Is it? So it must be my internet then.
Yeah.
It's saying I've got an internet connection on the actual yard, so I'm not sure. So it must be me. I do that then. Alright, see what I can do. Get closer.
Move slightly. That went up.
Move my phone slightly closer to my computer, so I'm using tethering at the moment. Because I couldn't read the password on Lisa's thing. I can't scan that with my computer. Am I still breaking up?
Slightly, yes. There's
Right.
funny,
I can't even see you anymore.
Oh, right. The screen.
Yeah, I've got just a black screen.
Right, let's turn the camera off and let's turn it back on again. Yeah, I'm still here.
It's still black screen.
Oh. It says I'm in the show.
Right, what I'll do is if you drop out the show a second and come back in, that might solve the picture problems and hopefully it will solve the internet problems.
Okay, I'll come out.
And then just come back.
I've got to work out.
There we go. I've got you back.
Have you got me back?
Yeah, I've got you back. No, you haven't come out yet, but I've got the picture back, which is good.
I'll come out and see then if it works, okay?
Yeah, let's see if that. Well, I'm seem to be having internet troubles. It's probably the time of day the internet being used in the area. It could be me. I could be the one breaking up, or it could be Amanda. I'm not too sure. But we'll try and muddle on for see if the problem resolves itself. Yeah, we're going to talk to Amanda in a second about what it's like to be the position leader in the council, what the differences are from being a normal councillor and what she has to deal with at that point. Oh, and he comes back now.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. You're back. There we go. Right, what I was saying was, it's been a few months since we spoke on live stream, and since then you've become opposition leader in the council. What challenges is that presenting for you?
Right, you are still breaking up, but I think you said, what challenges does being opposition leader bring? Is that right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, camera. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll do my language.
Well, what challenges, apart from the the online Facebook abuse from people who've never met me, saying, how can I be leader? What do I do? How can I get a leader's salary? Blah, de blah. I think somebody also said they'd been looking through my window, stalking, and seen fish on the window during the election period. They got the wrong house. So I don't know. I don't know whose house they were looking in, but so,
yeah, that came up during Steve's election, which had nothing to do with yourself.
I know. I've never had a fish on my wall anyway. I've got pictures of my children, and if somebody's looking in at pictures of my children, then that would be another matter again. Yeah, so it comes with a bit of abuse, but I just don't look at it, because if you don't see it, you can't get upset by it. So I don't tend to join many groups. I don't think people can tag me into any of these abusive posts either, because I think they've all blocked me, so that's another positive. But if we get past the abusive part of it, then there's 13 of us now. So some people could say that's unlucky. Unlucky for who, I don't know. But certainly lucky for us. I think as we're independent, obviously there's no whip. Nobody can tell anyone what to do. So I might be group leader, but I cannot force anyone to do anything. I cannot tell them how to vote. I cannot tell them what to think, what to say. What has happened recently, I was in a meeting on Friday, is there are new rules coming into force for group leaders, whereas we now have a responsibility for our group. I think people are fed up, and I think it's come through Welsh Government, about the number of ombudsman complaints, petty ombudsman complaints and petty complaints constantly. So I think it's to have group leaders working together to reduce the number of complaints coming into the ombudsman and into the council. So as a group leader now, we're responsible for, well, we're not responsible. We are not responsible for the individuals and their behaviour, but we are responsible for making sure that the individuals are aware of the mandatory training that's available, and to encourage them to go on it, to encourage them to behave properly, and to do all they can not to upset people so that it warrants a proper complaint. And it's to support our group as well. So as group leaders, we all were in a meeting and a training session on Friday, and we went through that we now have to report in to the council, to the standards committee every 6 months, with a report on how things are going within our group, to say about whether we'll be given details of how many complaints have come in, and we'll also have to update on everyone who's been on the mandatory training. And so a bit more responsibility on us as group leaders. But like I said, we're not responsible for individuals in our group, and we cannot be held accountable for their actions. We can be frowned upon if we don't do anything to support them and to push them towards the right training, the necessary training. And also, whilst we're not responsible, or I keep using the same word responsible, it's not the best word. Whilst our remit isn't community councillors, all of us independent borough councillors are town or community councillors as well. So we do have a duty there to ensure that the behaviour in the town and community councils isn't going to cause a problem at a BCBC level, and it's not going to risk the reputation of BCBC or our group within BCBC. So we do have some sort of link there as well. So this is fresh. I haven't gone back to my group yet to explain all of this. I've got my notes, which are not in this room, so I'm relying now on memory. So I would be updating them all. But so and then a group leader, we have a monthly group leaders meeting to look at issues our group may have. Could be about backlogs and referrals. It could be that they're not getting a response on a specific item. It could be a group item that everyone's got concerns with. So we raise those in group leaders meetings and feedback. As group leaders, then we have a duty to be on other on other panels as well. For example, the chief executive's appraisal panel, and so we do other things as well. So it brings with it a little bit more work as well. If there's any urgent decisions, for example, when the Queen passed away, we weren't allowed to have any meetings. So if any urgent business came through, we could have a discussion as 3 group leaders to confirm we were happy with something to go forward. So it brings with it a bit more responsibility than just being a councillor. You know, there's a lot more meetings. There's a lot more. You've got to make sure that your group's happy, that they know what's going on, that they know what training is there, that they can all access their computer systems, that they haven't got any issues. And so it's just being there as support for your group.
You were essentially as part of, so what BTI was like 5 years ago, you were essentially, for the majority of that, either with one other BCI member or basically on your own. Now you've got 12 others backing you up, and I know you worked with independents last time. Is it easier now working in that group, or was it easier when you didn't have the responsibility of 12 others and watching over what they're doing and making sure, as you said, into the mandatory training now and other things that are going to come in?
I wouldn't say it was easier before. I'm busier now.
Yeah.
Very busy. Much busier. So it's always trying to see what I need to do, what I need to juggle with the extra meetings, and sometimes the pressure of things like obviously the homelessness issue last week meant a lot more meetings and trying to resolve everything and trying to make sure everyone was happy and being part of that process so that we knew what was going on. I'm still not 100% sure I knew what was going on, but I think that's what was meant to have happened. So we're there now to ask questions as well as group leaders and be the point of contact if somebody's got concerns, because the staff in BCBC, whilst we have a referral system, sometimes you'll have something urgent or sometimes you'll have something that's not been picked up that needs escalating, and it's easier to have one point of contact rather than hundreds of emails to the chief exec or one of the directors. So,
well, which was what I tried to do in the hotel this week, that they had one point of contact in the hotel that could tell them things and that, because everybody was trying to email the housing office, everybody was trying to ring through to council housing department, and we just couldn't get through, and it was a nightmare. So I was trying to do what I could. So it's the communication thing that's really needs to be better in with BCBC. It's the communication more than anything, I think, at this point.
Yeah,
because
I would.
we did struggle to get anything from our housing
Yeah,
officers because they were so busy. We understand that
yeah,
they were so busy; it's hard to get anything.
yeah. Which is why I came down to see you, and why I said to officers and cabinet members they need to come down to see you as well. So that,
And be fair to them, they did. They
yeah,
came down. Martin Morgan came down for 3 days,
yeah,
and he was there till the contract ended at midday on Friday. So
yeah, which is excellent, and it shows then that people care, and you've got their support.
yeah, and it's much appreciated by the
Yeah,
residents that they
yeah,
are coming down. That they are
yeah,
that they're not just being saying, "Oh, we're going to do this and that's it." They've
yeah,
gone. We can't get hold of anybody again.
yeah, yeah,
So so you've got your your leadership of the group in BCBC now, and
yeah.
is there anything you're looking to do as the group? Something to do within BCBC? Something you're looking to push forward as a group at this point?
Well, well, I know with political parties they have their mandate, and when
Yeah.
they do elections, they say we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But we're all independent, and we all have different areas with different wants, different needs, and so
Mm.
we will continue to be independent and continue to work for our areas. If we can support each other on a collective item, then we will. But we've got different issues. If you look at Hoyti, for example, my priority is Hoyti are getting that park in the Cardiff. I don't
You're
know why.
breaking up again, Amanda.
Oh,
It
can you
mu-
hear me?
I 2 seconds. No, I'm full bars on everything
Yeah,
according to this. Ah, there we go. You sound a bit better there.
right, okay.
There we go.
Right, so I was explaining the sort of situation I've got, for example, in Hoyti, um, the park in Cardiff and Gerrard Cardiff has been well overdue. BCBC have had the money for over 18 months for that park, and the frustration is they say, well, we've got 5 years to spend it, so we'll wait until the very end of the 5 years, which I think part and parcel of why you were all struggling last week is because everything is left until the last minute to sort things out, and then there's no extra for any problems that arise as a result of it. And in the meantime, all these children have got nowhere to play. I've even gone with proposals to the council saying that the community council could put
Yeah.
the in and have the money and do that so it's done quicker if they're too busy to put it in. But my referral has been outstanding now for, well, it's been outstanding since beginning of 2018.
Yeah.
So it's not getting anywhere. That's one priority. Another priority is County Primary School is far too small. The children, 30 odd children every year being turned down from full-time nursery places because the school was built too small. Now, after jumping about and shouting and screaming for 5.5 years, we are having an extension to the school. But, which ironically, I've told the leader I cannot support now. I've been asking for the extension, great. I can't support it now because their plans for the extension are to simply extend out and take the whole of the juniors' yard for the extension and not give them any play place. They want to fill the school with more children, so there'll be another half form. So, um, so there'll be another 15 children per year group going into the school, and I think the infants' yards could probably take those children because the yard in the gym is too small now. I think a ROSPA inspection said that the yard was too small, because they're including 4G pitch, which isn't attached to the school. When I asked BCC years ago if they could put a corridor down to the school, they said it didn't have the money to put that in. So it's tough. Can't use the 4G pitch in their playtimes without teachers taking them down, having so many teachers per
Yeah.
down there, because if anyone needs a toilet, they'd all have to come back if there's only one member of staff down there. And I wasn't very impressed that at the same time we paid for Brackler to have, not the schools, the community to have the same fence around their sports pitches, and yet they wouldn't pay for the school to have their 4G linked to the school. So you have to go on a public footpath. So that's disappointing because they will have absolutely no yard, and in the 21st century school there will be no netball court. The netball court at the moment is too small, so they can't host any competitions because it's not the right size. But then to have no yard, no netball court, and have children play grass banking, their only play space, I think it's atrocious, and it doesn't take into account the well-being. So that's my next issue for me looking at, because I've got a duty as chair of governors of the school as well. I've got a duty for the children who are already in that school, as well as the children who will be coming in the school with nowhere to play. And since COVID, we know the importance of fresh air, of playing. So yeah, so that's another example. Obviously, I've got most of my is actually through developers. So whilst I send my referrals through to BCBC, the majority of Coit itself is then adopted because it's the cement. It's over 1,500 houses there. Then there's 200 odd houses down in Gareth the Castell and adopted at the moment. So that part of the Coity ward is
And there's going to be more at the bottom of the bypass as well, because that estate falls under Coity.
Yeah. Well, that's Pendray, sorry. So the Pendray estate as well, for of Cadban, that's an issue in itself, because we're trying to understand how residents there are being asked to pay a service charge whilst also paying BC council tax, the precepts for the community council, and they're paying double for their services.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be getting all sorts from this maintenance company, and yet they're not getting much at all. And it's something that the community council could have provided for the precept, which is minimum compared to the maintenance they have to pay. So that's another issue I'm looking at now. Now that I've the ward is bigger and it is Litchard and Pendray, it means there's 3 of us councillors. So we have to make sure we get a referral. We're not all duplicating and copying each other in. And so far, it's worked very well, the 3 of us. So
well, it should. You live with one of them.
Yeah, well, but I grew up in Litchard, so I know Litchard and Pendray very well. A lot of my friends lived in Pendray, and I grew up in Penellan in Litchard, so I know the area, so that helps. So that's the sort of issues I've got there. Whereas you've got Park Street is an issue for some of our town group members, and the traffic there and what can be done, and the air there because of the fumes down there. You've got Newbury Fields and the sports facility there, because I know that is been refurbished. Now it's just taken so long.
Amanda,
Yeah.
You really breaking up. Anybody who's watching, is it just Amanda who's breaking up, or am I breaking up as well? If you can answer me in the chat. Maybe they're not even. Maybe I'm breaking up so much that they can't understand what I'm saying.
If you're breaking up to me now.
Am I breaking up to you?
No.
You're breaking up to me, but I'm not breaking up to you.
Right, let's go out my Wi-Fi and onto my.
Could somebody on the chat tell me if it's just me who's breaking up? If it's me who's breaking up as well as Amanda, or is it just Amanda? Or is everything fine for you lot? And it's just on my end that this is happening. If it's so, I don't need to hear what Amanda says. We're here to talk to you.
So, can you hear me now?
I can. You're fine for a couple of minutes, and then suddenly you start doing the breaking up like you're going through a tunnel bit.
Right. Okay. So yes, I'm saying that some of the issues are Newbridge Fields, which I don't have Newbridge Fields in my ward. So it's supporting, but it's not. So what my point was, it's not the same issue. Like down 48 and the traffic and the speed of traffic there, that is an horrific issue that I cannot believe has been so low down on the priority list for getting a pavement and crossing point on there. I wouldn't let my children go down there, and I was told, oh, there's an underpass under that road that people can go through. If you skip when it rains, oh my gosh, it's
I
like
try to walk. I'm not a tall person, but I have to duck slightly to go under it.
I used to go under there as a child. We used to go under there from New Fields, and then we go down to the dipping bridge and that. And I wouldn't send my children there.
As I understand, it was done for cattle to go through originally.
Yeah.
That's what that underpass was for. Was for cattle to.
But you wouldn't send your children. You wouldn't say if your child's walking to school that's a safe route for them to walk on their own.
No, it's not. So say each ward has their own issues, and you're there to support each if they need it.
We have collective issues with school transport, so that everyone has the same issue, because there's the 3-mile rule now, which I think is really detrimental to the well-being of children. I lived at the top of Litchard. I get a free bus to school to bring when I was in school. If I'd missed the bus, because the bus would only wait 2-3 minutes, if you're up the upper school, you'd never catch that bus. I'd have to go home, almost an hour to walk home. In the winter, I would be absolutely drenched. So I think how Welsh Government and then BCBC supporting that can say that it's okay for a child to walk, this is an 11-year-old as well, to walk 3 miles in the torrential rain to school, and then that they'd be okay to sit there in their soaking wet clothes all day and learn. Anyone who's wet is not going to sit there and learn. And then got to go back out and walk. So I did meet with the chief executive recently, and I said about how I'm going to wait until we've got some really lovely winter weather, and I do the walk myself. So I'm going to like doing that as I walk and see the state I get in with my umbrella and my coat by the time I get to Bryn Teg. But then you've got issues then about buses leaving children, buses.
If they've forgotten their passes.
I know one bus company is supposed to pick up at the end of school day, but it's another school first to maximise their profit, and leaving those children standing for over half an hour at the end of the day until... Oh, are you still there?
Yeah, just got choking at the moment.
Oh, are you okay? Oh.
Sorry, I was choking in a second. I'm fine. Just choking a second and coughing. I'm back. Am I back? I can't hear you. I can't hear you now. Right. You unmute.
You okay? Right.
Yeah, sorry, I was choking a second. You're back.
Yeah, right. Okay. So, so I know, I was saying, I know one bus company leaves the children for over half an hour before it picks up from the school. And yet parents have been told they cannot use another bus provider, and there are 2 other providers willing to provide the service, because BCBC said their agreement is with that one company, which is wrong, because it's
there's no flexibility.
And the well-being of the children is not being put first.
Yeah.
If there's a contract with a bus company, even if it's a paid contract, they should be picking up those children on the time that they're supposed to be when they finish school, because the school staff are hanging around for over half an hour of their own time then, making sure those children are safe. And I just, so there are group issues that we all deal with as well, that are similar, that I can go and say, right, we've got these issues. So being independent, back to your original question, we are still independent. We still have our own issues. We support each other where we can. And that's the whole purpose of our group. We are not a political party, no matter how many people say online, I don't know how they can't get this. We're not a political party. We're a group of people who are independents, who formed a group, because if you form a group with the council, you then become an opposition. If you're all standalone, you're not really entitled to any seats even on the council and on committees. So you know, if you've got a group, then you've got more clout about you in asking questions of the ruling group. So,
and I think Steve will say this as well. And that wasn't the original idea, to have more clout in the council. It was more to have people there to help you deliver leaflets, to give you advice on things. That's what BCI or
there's no
Change for
political
Bridgend was.
No,
We all think different things. We all think different things. We all have different ideas, and we all come from different political backgrounds. We've got ex-Labour members, ex-Tories. We've got ex
Lib Dems,
and Plaid Cymru. So it's we're just there to support each other. And the classic example of that was during the by-election in Bridgend Central. People going out helping Steve Easterbrook deliver leaflets, knock doors. And it wasn't, we're doing this because we have one party message, because we're not a party. We're doing this because we support. Whether we agree with what Steve wants to do or not is entirely non-consequential, because we don't care. We're just there to provide that support at the end of the day to each other.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, each of us individually knows our ward. We don't know everyone else's ward. We're there. You know, we have to take their judgment on what's right for that ward. But we're there to support and be a support network for each other, the same as any other group had, same as you have with your friends and So I just don't know why people are so hung up on it. And I think but I know I get the rolled eyes, and you can see sometimes in the online meetings you get the rolled eyes of, oh, it's them. And I know behind closed doors we're slagged off as a group, and I know some members have been contacted to say, oh, they're vicious, they're nasty, that group, and that. Having never met most of us, so I just think sometimes people have to grow up and concentrate on their own lives first before they start looking into other people's.
I will say, I think it's been a long time since BCBC have had the amount of scrutiny that has been happening and is going to happen over the next 5 years now, with people like Alex and Freya on the scrutiny now, heading up that, and other people within BCI, from the Cllr Independents, because the Independents are basically two groups now, and a couple of individuals that work together. So there's more scrutiny. We're not going party lines here. We're going on what we think should be scrutinised. Because we're opposite on what we think on parties, right wing and left wing. It's not that. Is this the best thing to do for the people of Bridgend? And that's the difference.
And I'm more than happy to applaud and say publicly those people who I think have done a good job on something. I am so, you know, I said at the start, all the officers who worked on the finding all of you housing, you know, they must have worked tirelessly, constantly phoning, constantly, and you know, there isn't a big team of people to do that. And again, I have to give Rhys good credit, because I said, somebody needs to go down, and he said, I'll go down, and he came down. You know, you have to say, I'm not one of those who would say, oh, because they're a different group or they're a so-and-so party, that I can't applaud them. Because I can, because it's for the benefit of Bridgend. And I think everyone needs to grow up and start thinking we're all individuals. We were all elected to do a job for our ward, and we need to work together. And sometimes you have to put your hand up and say, actually, they've done a good job there. Not, oh, I can't mention them can't say anything because they're not my political group.
It's like I don't mind praising good work, and I did that with Reece earlier, and I applaud him for actually coming on. It's the first Labour councillor to ever actually come on to the political owl stream, so I'll give him credit there. Everybody else just will ignore me or say, no, I'm not doing that because you're BCI. Fine, fair enough, they can do what they want. But I'll give him credit, he was happy enough to come on because we were just talking about what happens, and that's what. But that's what I do. I don't bring. It's like I didn't do it with Tom last year, and I could have done with Tom Gifford. I could go on the attack, but that's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to let you bring out your message because getting what everybody thinks rather than a certain few sides, you can make a better choice of who you want to vote for or the interest in politics. Anyway, we spoke about.
I'm sorry, I've got it.
Right, no problem.
Second.
Yeah, no problem. Right, yes. Now, I'll just ramble a bit. As I said, this week, what happened with the homelessness thing, politics was not a consideration in any of it, which was fantastic, and it was good to see, and things got done. I do have to praise the BCBC staff, the executives, Reece Good, Amanda Williams, Freya Bledsoe, Stephen Bledsoe, Alex Williams, and also companies like Pobble, Woolwich, and the housing authorities, Forest Coast, Link, Havard, and Wales and West. And not just that, private landlords are giving up rooms in their HMOs so for a period of time so people have somewhere safe to stay. And that at the end of the day, that's what it's about. People having somewhere safe to stay and feeling safe where they are. And that is the primary concern for anybody. So, yeah, it's been great. And it's good to see that happening. And is Amanda back now? Are you back?
I am, but my daughter's just cut her foot. So she's Martin's out. Harry was away at Aberystwyth today for football, so he's not back in Aberystwyth yet. We had one in Aberystwyth, one in Cardiff, and then Sophie with her netball. So although that was cancelled today because the caretaker didn't turn up to open the hall. So hang on, I should just back a second.
Yeah, go deal with Sophie. That's fine. If you need to leave, that's fine. Cut it short. Yeah, it's been a crazy week, but it shows what can be achieved when it's needed, which is a good thing. As we were talking about, BCI isn't a party. We don't tell people how to vote. We don't tell people what to do. We're there as a support network only and to give backup because it's very difficult to go around thousands of houses delivering leaflets on your own, knocking doors at the same time, and talking to people. You do need that help. And that's what it is. We don't ask for a membership. We don't ask for an allegiance to vote on something that we particularly want. It's your vote, your thing. You won't be kicked out if you vote a different way. You won't be disowned. You won't be, right, we're not going to help you anymore. That's what we are. We're a group of support, not a group of do as we want you to do. It looks like Amanda's ready.
I am. She's back in a minute with plasters.
Is she okay?
Oh yeah, I've cleaned it. She's just finding the new plasters. Magic plaster does the job.
Yeah, but
fun of trying to juggle everything. What it's like with kids and meetings and all sorts. But
yeah, I thought it's quite funny. For the last 5 years, you've been fighting for Quinty Primary to get an extension, and now they're getting an extension. You can't support it, and that is, and that's the problem with things nowadays. They're not thought through properly. As Reece Good said it before, you're not thinking out to the final conclusion. You're only thinking so far, and everything's going to work and go this way. But you don't think out to the final conclusion. And the Inspiller talks about it a lot. It's that linked up thinking, that joined up thinking at the end of the day. And I haven't really prepared for today for this live stream, so come on, Amanda, help me out.
Right, I haven't prepared for it either because you said, is there anyone on? And I still, but
Yeah,
go on.
it's like I know Steve's on holiday, and I needed Martin because they'll just ramble on forever and ever and ever, and I can
Could
fill
have
out
heard
time.
his wedding speech. Oh my gosh. I think they had a bet on his wedding speech, and I think the longest was 14 minutes, and I think he was actually 40 odd minutes. So,
And did
okay.
he mention you at all in that?
I don't think he did, probably. No, I think,
No,
yeah, no, he does ramble unless he's on the phone to someone, and then he can't wait to get off the phone. Anyway, so,
but
but there
we
we
could
go.
talk. We talk about Quincy High Community Council for a little bit because we're both on there now.
Yeah,
And it's a fully independent council now,
it
which
is.
is
But with that brings its challenges.
yes, getting
Different opinion.
getting 13 opinions and 13 people pulling in the same direction.
So it's
But
harder now than when it had less independence because people have different opinions of what they want.
yeah, but I think so far it started off quite promising, and there are a few projects that are being brought up to the council from various different sectors, like you with Persimmon. There's something coming up with that. I'm not sure if we can mention what's going on there. There's a project with the Councillor Darren Brown is bringing up for the Black Path, so keep an eye out for that and see
We're
where
looking
we go with that.
We're in Litchard Park and Great Western Avenue pitches and the community centre. So
Yeah,
there's
yeah. So it's quite exciting because there's a lot we can do now.
yeah.
And there's a lot of ideas that are coming forward from various different people, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And it is good to see these new councillors already getting involved and putting their voice to things.
Yeah.
Because it can be quite intimidating sometimes to just get in there.
But everyone who's the new councillors all care about their community, which is why they put it forward. To be successful. I mean, some of them were unopposed, but they all care about the community. And we've got links as well with the bordering councils as well. Community
St. Bride's and Bridgend Town Council.
Yeah. So that's good.
Yeah,
and Cllr actually with Lisa.
Yeah, Cllr and no, they don't. It doesn't actually. I was going to say Anna Sauder and Kevin Glass, Lalliston, but they don't actually border us, do they?
No. So yeah. So there's lots of. I know as the purse strings are being tightened in BPO and there's less and less done, particularly publicly, because I think people say, well, where's all my council going? And I think the majority of it goes on education, social services. And people don't necessarily see that. If you haven't got any children, you wouldn't see what's spent on education. If you don't use social services, if you don't need support, you're not an older person or somebody who's got a disability or somebody who needs support of social services, then you're not going to see that money spent either. What people see is the community. They see the weeds, they see the potholes, they see the unkept areas. And I think it's something I've raised. Tim Thomas and I had a meeting with Mark Shepherd, and we raised this general scruffiness around the Gens at the moment. And we're told it's because of budget cuts in the communities directorate and lack of staff because they've got small teams because they've been cut to the bone. So they just simply haven't got the resource to get around and do it all. So if if that's the case, community councils have to start coming up and supporting as well and doing their bits. I know Quality Hire have done some weeding in the past, have done some bits and pieces.
Yeah, I think most community councils do their flower baskets now, don't they? And it does brighten up the area a bit, but it's the ground level on the pavements where you can see the weeds coming through. Quite often somebody from Coity Higher comes and cuts the weeds around the path by the castle in front of where you live. It's brought up, and somebody comes cuts that
Yeah,
occasionally.
yeah, they do. They do the whole that they do from the front of the castle by the church all the way down, and they go across down Richard down to Pendray. They do the big
Yeah,
shape it
yeah,
is to cover all three wards, and they do the three main roads. But then if you look, they've got the weeds now is terrible around by Tremacaster and Gerrard the Caster, and um and that's the frustrating bit as well. When you look down at Torth Cafan now, they're paying a charge there, and it's again what's being done for that charge. And I think as we expand as well, there's a lot more areas that need attention as well.
yeah. Well, we're coming up on an hour, and I think we'll leave it there because we were really prepared. I just wanted, while I had internet, let's do another live stream, see what we can do.
Yeah,
So we'll call it that. I'll say goodbye to everyone. I'll speak to you in the windows after this, after I end the broadcast. So I'll just say goodbye if you could stick around for a second.
yeah,
Anyway, thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming in. Thank you to Amanda, and thank you to Reese Good, who did the live stream earlier. And big thank you again to everybody who helped the residents of the Atlantic and Fairways this week. Have a good week, and we'll see if we can do next week. I'm not sure where I'm going to be at the moment, but we'll see. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.